Good morning everyone. Today I'm here to explain the concept of supply and demand curves. Supply and demand curves are graphical representations of the relationship between the price of a good or service and the quantity supplied or demanded for that good or service. They are used to illustrate how changes in price affect the quantity supplied and demanded for a good or service. Let's start with the demand curve. The demand curve shows how much a good or service consumers are willing to buy at different prices. As the price of a good or service increases, consumers will be less willing to buy it, so the quantity demanded will decrease. This is known as the law of demand. The supply curve shows how much a good or service producers are willing to supply at different prices. As the price of a good or service increases, producers will be more willing to supply it, so the quantity supplied will increase. This is known as the law of supply. When we combine these two curves, we get what is known as an equilibrium point, which is where both curves intersect on a graph. At this point, there is no incentive for either buyers or sellers to change their behavior because they have reached an agreement on price and quantity that benefits both parties equally. Here's an example of what a supply and demand curve looks like. Insert image. As you can see from this graph, when the price is $10 per unit, there is an equilibrium point where both buyers and sellers agree on that price and quantity, in this case 10 units. If either party tries to change their behavior, by either increasing their demand, supply or decreasing their demand, supply, then it would cause an imbalance in the market which would lead to either shortages, if there was too much demand, or surpluses, if there was too much supply. To sum up, supply and demand curves are graphical representations of how changes in price affect the quantity supplied and demanded for a good or service. They help us understand how markets work by showing us how buyers and sellers interact with each other in order to reach an equilibrium point where both parties benefit equally from their transactions. I hope this has been helpful in understanding what supply and demand curves are. Thank you for your time.